And if you think that's a good road, then by all means, continue driving straight ahead. If you're like me, bitch and complain. That's how things get changed around here.
God, I love it when you whine like my 7-year-old.
Is that not true?
Good for you.
Very good.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. Welcome back to the Unrestricted, folks. I'm Vex. We got no Bulldog today. He's busy at work.
Oh.
I know.
I miss him so.
I know, we do. But he'll be back soon enough. That's Wally, and that's Bob. What's up, Bob?
Hi.
How are you?
I'm okay.
You happy about your 49ers?
That was a good game.
Yeah, 49ers are good. I feel so good about my bet on them to win the NFC. I feel so good about that.
They just need to remain healthy.
Yep, that's the big deal.
Is that a regular season title or?
Yeah, regular season title.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I feel
that.
pretty good about it.
Okay.
We got a lot to talk about today, boys and girls. The Cowboys, did we learn anything? I don't know. The Spurs, what have we learned so far? Texas, the University of Texas, God damn it, they almost blew it. The Texans, all of a sudden, look like they're a real football team, and Jimbo Fisher is finally fired. God bless, we got a lot to get to. But first...
Yes, first, River City Refuels, the sponsor of this program. They're a vending machine that comes to your business. Yes, that's right. They just drop off the box right there. They put it in your business, and it's actually tailored to you and your employees. So they don't have, Marlboro Lights in there and, and what were the long, skinny cigarettes? Virginia Slims. Yeah, they don't have those. That's not in your vending machine, unless, of course, you like all that stuff. It's, loaded with stuff like Devil's Food donut holes that Bob brought in today. Mrs. Freshly's donuts, ramen noodles, those kind of things, nut bars, whatever. What the hell's a nut bar?
Nut bar?
I'm not quite sure what a nut bar is, but...
Nut bar?
It's completely cashless.
Is it gooey?
It's like
It might be gooey, it might be chewy, maybe caramel.
Chippendales?
Chippendales.
Nut
You're
bar?
going down a different road, sir. Anyway, it is a vending machine for your business. They completely fill it up so you don't have to do anything. And it's great for office buildings, an apartment complex. They should have one down here in this building, actually. This building should call this number 630-5973. 630-5973. It's River City Refuels, a vending machine for your business.
I heard that you went to a Spurs game this weekend.
I did go to a Spurs game this weekend. I told you guys, I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast, but I bought season tickets.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I bought the 10-game plan or the 9-game plan, whatever it was, for the purpose of giving them away on my food truck, Wally's Deli food truck. It was. I hadn't been to the arena, and first of all, seeing Wemby in person is incredible because at that point is when it really dawns on you how tall this freaking kid is, because we're standing like on the third or fourth level of the seats.
And he's looking you right in the eye.
Yeah, and we're pretty much finally reached his height, which is bizarre. And I'll say this at this point, I'll make this bet that, because to me a generational player comes around once in a while. It's
supposed to be once per generation.
Yeah, once per generation. Yeah, in a while. So if that's the case, then Wemby is not a generational player, because he's got a player that he's going against tonight in Chet Holmgren, who is just as good as he is.
Currently.
Just as good.
Currently. But
Okay.
we're talking about 19 and a 20-year-old, right?
Okay, so Chet Holmgren can't get any better? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
No, he certainly can, and,
Okay.
and he probably will. But I think we've seen the ceiling on Victor Wembanyama is a dominant force. I don't know that we've seen that from Chet Holmgren.
And
I haven't seen enough of Chet
Yeah.
Holmgren to make that determination yet.
And the X factor on Chet's career is going to be his durability, because he already sat 1 year on an injury.
How different is that than Wemby's ceiling? Isn't the big variable health for both of them?
Yeah,
Sure.
it is, but we
agree.
have one example of Chet sitting out a season on
true.
an injury. So
True fact.
how does he recover?
True fact. That's a great game tonight, by the way. Spurs versus OKC.
Yeah.
OKC is good. And one of the reasons I think that you see Chet Holmgren's numbers by comparison to Wemby being favorable, shall we say, or at least the equal of Victor Wembanyama.
I have them for you, Jeff, believe it or not. How about that?
Give him to me in just a second, but let me finish my point.
All right, then.
Okay. One of the reasons I think that you see Chet Holmgren's numbers being just as good is that he has an awesome team around him. he has a playoff team built around him. He has an all-star, a top 10 player in the league in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander,
Okay.
a distributor
I
who
agree.
can make sure that he gets him open. Wemby's having to do it by himself. Give me those numbers. I probably should have let you do it first.
That's okay. So they're playing the same amount of minutes, 30 minutes a game. The difference here, and you'll see this in the numbers, is that Victor's taking 6 more shots per game. That's a lot.
Yep.
So that affects Wemby's shooting percentage, which is 44%, where Holmgren's is 54%.
Yep.
Round up 55-45. Let's see, 3-point percentage. Wemby's taken 5.7 shots. Chad Holmgren's 3.6. And Victor's at 30%. Holmgren's at 50%. Free throws. Holmgren's 90. Victor is 7.5. Rebounds a game, 8.8, just about 9 for Wemby, and just about 8 for Chet. Points per game, 16.4 for Holmgren, and 19.7 for Victor. Again, when you're shooting 6 more shots per game, your average is going to go. Your points per game is going to go up.
So what do you take away from that, Walter?
You can make the argument they're even.
Okay.
Okay, the numbers are very comparable. One may be better than the other, and that's arguable who it is. But if you're going to tell me that Wemby's a generational player, if the definition of a generational player, as you said, is a guy that only comes around once a generation, well, then that can't be true because Chet Holmgren is just as good as Wembanyama at this point as far as numbers-wise.
Let me ask you.
I haven't seen Chet Holmgren play a full game. I will tomorrow.
I have, and it's awfully good, but he is by no means the center of their offense. He is an option just like everybody else, where option number 1 is SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Okay? It's just a different situation that he's in. Now, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Was Bill Russell a generational player?
Sure.
Was Wilt Chamberlain a generational player?
Yes.
Didn't they go head-to-head? Didn't they battle? Isn't that 2 generational players within the same generation? Because what we've seen from Chet Holmgren versus Victor Wembanyama since they were like 16 years old, by the way, is that these 2 guys are the future head-to-head heavyweight matchup of the world. It's Ali Frazier or Ali Foreman, however you want to look at it, where there's 2 big guys who are going to butt heads for an entire generation and define each other by how one beats up on the other or not. Right? You got to have a good measuring stick. And I think that the Wembanyama versus Holmgren thing is going to be a measuring stick for either player for the rest of their careers.
Okay. I think those are all great points, and I can't disagree with any of that. So I think maybe the issue I may have would be the definition of a generational player. I think we have 2 of them. We have the potential to have 2 of them. Let me get to the rest of the evening.
Yeah. At the Spurs game. Yes.
And first of all, the issue with the Spurs continues to be the issue it's been for the last 2 years is they can't shoot 3-pointers and their defense is terrible. Although we did see better defense from them on against Miami on Sunday night at the game I was at, so that was good. Jeremy Sohan, I know you don't like it, but he is the point guard and will be the point guard, and that's the way it goes. He has the height. He's getting better with every single game. His handle's getting a little bit better, and I thought he was very good on Sunday, and we'll see if that carries over to tonight. But
I don't like it.
He is the point guard for the future.
I don't like it. I don't
Why?
see him ever developing into an actual point guard. I can see him being a ball-handling forward. Okay, that's fine by me.
Okay.
But positionally, he's not a point guard. It's as a guy who
he's just learning the position. So
I understand. It's so hard to learn that position when you haven't been raised to do it. I mean, point guard is not something that. Is there another example of a guy who just turned into a point guard late in life? I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Hey, Pop's trying to do this with him, and as he said, sometimes I get tired of doing this shit, as he said, and my retort to that would be, well, you got no choice, dude. You're either going to be the point guard, or you're not going to be on this team, because what else is he going to be?
I don't know. Could he take the place of Keldon Johnson and be a point forward?
Yeah, but you would think, well, maybe he could be, because he's a good defensive player, maybe he could be the next Bruce Bowen, but he'll have to develop a 3-point shot. And you're starting to see a little bit of that in his game. I think he just needs a little bit of time. You got to be patient with Sohan, and
I
think
am
it's-
being patient.
I think it's there.
I am being patient. I
Okay.
don't see what you're seeing. I
Okay.
don't see that it's there. I've seen shooting guards transform into point guards. I don't know that I've ever seen a guy of his size who's really a 3-4 turn into a point guard. I can't recall that ever happening.
Fascinating to see how it all works. Let's get to my arena experience on
Oh
Sunday.
boy, here's your chance to blow up the Spurs.
So when was the last time you all went to a game?
I went opening night.
You went opening night?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't been to the arena. It's been some time since I've been there without a Spurs media credential. If you're listening to the program, I was a Spurs media credential for, I don't know, a decade, 10 years, maybe something along those lines. So,
Did you just ask the audience if they're listening to the program? Because they definitely are.
yeah, this is true. That's a good point. That's a very good point, Jeff. Thank you very much. So we're in the arena, and I went with my 14-year-old son. So we end up going to some place called Burger Teca.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
I went up there as well.
All right, so
For
Burger
the
Teca.
$17 burger.
This is true. So my son and I looked at the price. I go, holy crap. So we split a cheeseburger that comes with a side of fries, and we bought 2 20-ounce bottles of sodas. Any idea, Bob, how much we paid? A cheeseburger.
With fries.
With fries. It comes with it, so it's already there. And 2 bottles of soda.
At a sports arena.
Yep.
Just north of 30.
Yeah.
Just north of 30 would be correct. $31, and that to me is outrageous. I couldn't believe it. Here's some perspective for you, folks. I sell a burger on my food truck, and by the way, I drive to your freaking neighborhood. All right, you can get bacon on it, you can get cheese, you can get whatever the hell you want on it. 2 3-ounce patties comes on my sandwich, and you can get 2 cans of soda. You know what that's going to cost you? $11.50, not $31.50. $11.50.
Save a $20 bill. That's all.
I don't know who's profiting here. I don't know whether the Spurs have a hand in this. I don't know whether the food service is owned by the city, the county. I don't know who's in charge of that, how that all runs, but I can just come to this conclusion. They're gouging you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
don't buy there. So if you're going to here's my advice to you. If you're
Sneak
going
in
to the
food?
Spurs game, don't buy food. Make sure you eat before you go there. And that's a problem when you go to a Spurs game because there's no restaurants in that area at all.
Right. It's a big
that's-
problem.
And that's been the criticism of that arena for the
Let me ask you a question.
the entire time.
When you got to the game the other day, were there food trucks at the outside area?
I didn't get to that area. I
Okay.
know where you're talking about the outdoor
Yeah.
garden thing
Pavilion,
out there.
yeah.
I did not go out there, so I don't know.
When I went on opening night, I full well expected that there would be a stack of food trucks as there have been in past years.
Right.
Um,
At least one.
there were not.
Interesting.
It was opening night and there were none. And I have gotten used to, or I had gotten used to, going to Spurs games and going to a place called the Slider Provider. Have you ever been to their food truck?
Slider Provider used to come to Clear Channel every week.
They're awesome.
Yes.
They make great little burgers. It's not $31.
Except for peanut butter and jelly does not belong on a hamburger
Oh,
ever.
I used to eat that one,
Ooh,
and
the
it is so
gobstopper.
good. Yes, it is
Stupid.
so good.
It's a stupid hamburger. No, absolutely not.
My point in bringing this up is that I think the Spurs
Squashed it.
squashed it so that their indoor concessions can make all the money rather than
that would-
local food trucks, which really pisses me off.
That would make sense to me. I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's not so cool to me because you're talking about local food trucks. You're talking about small businesses,
I get
people
that,
like
but
Wally's Deli.
But if you're gonna put restaurants and eateries inside the arena, then you shouldn't have food trucks outside.
It makes it a competition, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair
All right,
enough.
So here's the other. So that was outrageous to me. The other part about this was, I go down to the lower bowl with my son. Right, this is about an hour before the game. So you have some of the players shooting around. You have Victor Wembanyama's out there,
Nice.
warming up and stuff like that. And I also see Bruce Bowen there. And to be honest, I had somewhat of a, I think it's, I would call it a relationship with Bruce. He talked all the time during media sessions with the Spurs when he was on the team.
Yeah, he was like the voice of the Spurs.
Yeah, because he would the Spurs designated him, hey, if you need somebody to talk to, yeah, it's going to be Bruce Bowen.
Before him, it was Malik Rose. Yes, they always designate one guy.
And if you did not know this, I covered practice for the Spurs for years. So I would go to every practice. I was the only radio guy in town that did that. And so I would talk to him all the time. And so I got to find out that Bruce was a big Cowboys fan, and he got to know that I was a Jets fan. So we would give each other crap all the time and go back and forth. But then the new rule came out in the NBA about getting underneath somebody's feet defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That, to me, and
It's
to
the
anybody,
Bruce Bowen rule.
that is the Bruce Bowen rule, because that's what Bruce Bowen used to do. He was a dirty player. That was a dirty play. There's no question about it. If you disagree, you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. All right? So Bruce goes on social media and rips the rule, and I said to Bruce, how could you rip the rule? You invented it. He blocked me. He blocked me on Twitter. I saw him sometime later after that.
He blocked you?
Yes, he blocked me. So I see him later on, sometime down the road, and he's in front of a restaurant. I'm driving past, and I go, "Hey, Bruce!" And he waves to me. I go, "Dude, I'm sorry, man. Oh, it's all good. We're all good." So it was pretty much over.
Until
So I wanted to say hello to him on Sunday when I saw him. So I shouted out his name. I'm probably like standing at the fifth row behind the basket. There's not a lot of people in the arena still. And Bruce is sitting in those first three rows on the floor, right? I go, "Bruce! Hey, Bruce!" And so this older woman, a security guard there at the arena, shooed me away. Hey, you can't. She's telling me, you can't do that. You can't do that. I go, "What?" And I'm thinking to myself, what? And listen, as I said, I'm a non-Spurs media member now, so this isn't about me not, having a credential, all that kind of stuff, and who the hell do you think you are to push me out? But it's like the Gestapo is running the AT&T or the Ross Bank Center. How bad is that?
I don't know. You sounded like a psycho fan there to me.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, Bruce!
You agree, Bob?
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Bruce! Bruce!
He's just sitting there
Save
watching.
me.
And they shooed me away and said, "You're going to need to go up there. Where's your ticket? Let me, and of course there's no paper tickets anymore in this world. So where's your seats, sir?" I said, "They're upstairs." "Well, you're going to need to go sit." And I thought, really?
Oh, kiss my ass on that. It's early.
You got the highlight of the NBA season in Victor Wembanyama, and fans are trying to get a little closer look at him, and you're not allowed on the floor?
That's
Why?
garbage. That's garbage.
It's Gestapo. Listen.
Okay,
I've been-
let's tone down the Nazi rhetoric.
Listen, I've been critical of the Spurs, and listen, and people have always criticized me for being a whiner. I complain too much. I remember seeing a billboard in San Antonio not too long ago that says, don't complain. I go, that's the stupidest effing thing I've ever seen. Listen, folks, let me give you a little lesson. If you don't complain, then things will continue down the road that they're going. And if you think that's a good road, then by all means, continue driving straight ahead. If you're like me and you think the fucking country's fucked up, well then, bitch and complain. That's how things get changed around here.
God, I love it when you whine like my 7-year-old.
Is that not true?
I mean, complain is a different word than criticize to me. I mean, I'm perfectly aware that things don't change unless you call attention to it.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Complaining, to me, connotes my 7-year-old who whines
Nobody
about
knows
everything.
what connotes means. With that being said, so I take a trip up to New York.
You're complaining about me
2 months
using
ago.
connotes.
Yeah, connotes. That's a stupid word. I've never even heard that word before. So I go up to New York. I rented a car from Priceline. Priceline says it's $59 for the car. I go, holy crap! What a great deal. I'm booking that. I book it. I fully expect to pay $59 a day for that car. I end up having to pay over $300. I go on social media and I immediately complain to Priceline. I go, you are screwing people. and they get with me immediately.
I'll bet.
Immediately. Not even an hour passed by where Priceline said, please DM us. We'd like to talk about the situation. Of course, because they don't want to be ripped. And that's how things change. Because you complain, you let the company know that this is bullshit. You let the AT&T or Frost Bank Center or the Spurs or whoever it is, let them know that you cannot charge me $31 for a freaking hamburger and 2 sodas.
This leads really
all
well
about the
into
money.
Jimbo Fisher, by the way.
Let's have it.
How much money is that guy? It's what do you always say, Bob?
The best job in the world is a fired college football coach.
I mean, it really is. Hey, let me give you a little bit of a breakdown on Jimbo's money that's coming. You ready for this?
I know this, but go ahead.
Okay. 25% of his deal, almost a little bit more than $19 million, is due within 60 days in lump sum.
Yes.
Okay. Another $7 million within 120 days.
Which is the first installment of 8 installments.
Yes.
Yep.
Or they may make a deal possibly to just pay a lump sum up front, like 80 cents on the dollar of his 78 million, and maybe give him 55 million or something like that. There's more for the Aggies. They've got to buy out the rest of the staff.
Yep.
That's $8 million. Now they have to hire a new coach. What do you think that's going to be? Around 7 or 8 million.
A lot less.
A year.
Buying out the new their new coach's contract from the school that he's at. That's another 7 or 8 million bucks. All told, we're talking about something like.
I don't think Jeff Traylor has a buyout at UTSA.
Well, that would be one guy, but if it's one of the other guys,
yeah, most coaches, yeah.
most coaches, they're going to be paying 7 or 8 million just to get him. Then pay them 7 or 8 million per annum. So what it adds up to is about 55 million in the next 120 days.
Which
you know what it adds up to, Bob? I'll tell you what it adds up
an
to.
absolute farce and fraud upon the people of the state of Texas.
I never, ever, ever want to hear anybody laugh at the New York Mets and the Bobby Bonilla contract, okay? Because the Aggies have won the race. Congratulations. Texas A&M has finally won something. They have given out the worst contract in sports history. It's no longer Bobby Bonilla. No. It is Jimbo Fisher. Sounds a little like Bobby Bonilla, doesn't Jimbo Bobby? Yeah, a little bit. But this is the worst contract in sports history. It's not even close. The Aggies win.
They didn't even get 10 wins. It was a bad era.
It was a bad contract from the very start. We all said it when he signed it. The Aggies are paying way too much money for this guy. And we all said, well, if they're going to pay him that kind of money, then he better win a championship. And they didn't. And,
they didn't approach it.
They extended him after a season in which he lost big and didn't even come into the national championship conversation. And that was the pandemic season.
Is there a way out for the Aggies? Looking around, you and I have talked about it on the show. All the things that we hear is Jeff Traylor is that guy. Now, the national media seems to think that it's maybe Duke's Mike Elko or Florida State's Mike Norvell. There's other head coaches. Oregon's head coach is in the mix. Washington's head coach.
Well, the Oregon coach said yesterday he's not interested. He's not going anywhere. So cross his name off the list.
Yeah, and then it would be a lateral move.
Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
I would say. Would you go where Oregon is now? Would you go to Texas A&M?
No, that's a lateral or
it's
downward move.
It's a downward move. That's not a lateral move.
Yeah.
If you take on. I mean, makes so much sense to us. It's not even funny. And anybody that disagrees with this is just being silly.
Oh, I love it when you say that.
Of course, because we all know what this state is all about. This state is all about the people that live here. Nobody else. They don't want outsiders. They want one of their own. And the one guy, the one candidate that fills that is Jeff Traylor. He's a Texan. You want to succeed at these Texas schools, then you need to bring in one of your own. And I'm not saying he had to go to Aggie Land and had to go to College Station, but he has to be a Texan. You can't get somebody that, is from Oregon. You can't get somebody that coaches in Florida. That doesn't happen. You need to get somebody that's got the Texas high school connections like Jeff Traylor does. You got to, because
Man,
Somebody
once
said-
in a while, you stumble onto an excellent point.
Well, the
And
thing-
right here, right now, you did so. You are 100% right. You have to
Absolutely.
get a head coach who has established relationships with high school coaches from the area and the neighboring states.
But the other guy will tell you, yeah, but you need to recruit outside Texas. No, you don't.
Bullshit.
No, you don't. If you recruited the best players in this state, you could win a title every single freaking year.
I mean, yeah, it's nice to get some players from surrounding states, from
Sure.
Oklahoma, from Louisiana. Those are all well and good. And if you're coaching, in College Station and you're scouting Houston, it's pretty easy to go across the border to Louisiana. If you're scouting Dallas, it's pretty easy to go across the border to Oklahoma. It's not that hard. I mean, this
Hey,
is
if
just part of
UTSA
being UT.
If UTSA could recruit and keep the best players in San Antonio here in San Antonio, they would be a top 25 team perennially.
Ooh.
Perennially,
I
but
don't
you
think
can't.
so.
You
No.
can't keep all of them. The best ones still go to Texas. The best ones still go to Oklahoma. If you can keep all those kids here, they would be a top 25. I'm not saying a national title contender, but that's how it works. There's enough players here in this state to be a national title contender if you got all of them. So you've got to make the call here. You've got to hire Jeff Traylor. To me, this is just an absolute no-brainer. I would be more shocked if they don't offer it than he accepts it. I mean, if he gets
I'm with
offered
you.
the job, he accepts it. It's not even a question. If anybody thinks otherwise, you're foolish.
Recruiting is only one part of the equation in college football these days. I mean, how successful do you think Traylor can be working the portal? That's another part of college football today.
Sure.
If you're not successful working the portal, you're not going to be in that national relevancy. I'm looking at you, Clemson.
Do you know what sells the portal, though? I think more than the head coach is how much NIL money they're capable of making. And at Texas A&M with the
That's
deep
not a
pockets,
question.
There's a
that's
bunch.
not a
Yeah,
problem.
good
So
point.
I think
Not a
that
question.
sells itself in a sense without the head coach's input. But I would add that you have to take care of the boosters. That's a big deal. And if Jeff Traylor is good at that, that
Certainly
was
appears that way here.
it does.
Yep.
It does. If he's good at that, and if he can keep, the wall built around the city of Houston, where the talent from Houston goes to College Station, then he'll be fine.
I think, and if you're a UTSA fan and you're worried, oh my God, what are we going to do now? Well, I mean, the answer is right up I-35, obviously. G.J. Kinney, or do I have that right? G.J. Kinney, the Texas State head coach, should be, and I would fully expect him to be the next head coach at UTSA. He does a great job. He did a great job here at UIW. He's doing a great job at Texas State. I would expect him to be the next head coach.
Let me take one last chance of taking a shit on Jimbo Fisher.
Okay.
He actually did get talent. I mean, Texas A&M's recruiting classes over the last several years have been top 5 recruiting classes.
Quarterback has been a problem.
What Jimbo has not been able to do is get a quarterback. That's
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been able to be a good fucking coach. He can't win. He can't take blue chip athletes and win football games in the SEC. That's his fault. That's on him. You got the guys. You couldn't win games. That's your fault. I hope he's done with coaching. And by the way, I think he is. Go sit in the
studio.
$76 million. It doesn't need to do anything.
Yeah,
That's exactly right. And by the way, UTSA fans should not make any noise, shouldn't make any chatter. Pipe down, because you're the same group that voted down the increase in athletics fee a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
So pipe down.
76 million. God, that's enough to run away with, isn't it?
So
You think?
Well, Bob and I
No.
were having this discussion earlier before the show.
How many donuts you could buy with 76 million? Sure.
No. How much money it would take for you to just, disappear, run away? Like $50,000. That's not enough, right?
Of course not.
No. But what is enough?
Was it enough to pack up, get off the grid, and never come back?
Yes.
Let's see. It really depends. First of all, it would depend on how old you are.
Yeah.
So I'm a year away from being 60.
So
So it
$6
wouldn't take-
for you?
Jackass. 10 million?
10 million.
10
Wow,
million?
that's a lot. That is more than I thought. I thought you'd go for a lot lower, to be honest.
Why?
Because you only have a couple years left.
You stupid ass. Well, look at it this way. What is life expectancy in the United States?
Something like
75?
78, something like
All
that.
right, so say you live to all right, say you live to 8. Let's make it a round number. We get to 80.
Okay.
All right, so you got 20 years left for me. 20 years left. How much money do you need to survive on a yearly basis?
Is that $500,000 a year? That would bring you to your $10 million.
$100,000 a year?
Yeah, that sounds reasonable in Belize or wherever you're going to go to live off the grid.
Yeah, so $100,000. I think $100,000 a year is what's
So that's $2 million.
okay.
No,
2 million. Have a little
much
extra.
much higher than that.
You're going for more.
to go off the grid, leave everything behind, go totally dark, walk away from everything. It's more in the 8-figure. 10
Really?
plus. Yeah, 10 plus.
For you.
For me.
Oh, God, it's so much less for me. It's so much less.
Really?
Oh, man. You threw $2 million. If I won the lottery tomorrow, you'd never see me
Do you
again.
play the lottery?
No, hell no.
You don't.
No.
You know what? I've gotten into the lottery. I try to play as regularly as possible.
Do you really?
Yes.
God, that is such a sign.
Someone has
Sign
to
of
win.
what? Sign of desperation?
Uh-huh. You found the word.
There you go. Yes.
Someone has to win. Why can't it be me?
All
That's
right.
exactly right. Exactly right.
We got to get out of here. Let's go through some things really fast.
Okay.
Were you impressed with the Texans as I was?
I talked about C.J. Stroud from the very start. I was impressed with him in preseason. He's a terrific player, and I said on Sunday the Houston Texans will make the playoffs.
CJ Stroud, maybe a legitimate MVP candidate as a rookie.
It's
Yes.
coming. It's coming. We are about 2 weeks away from having that real conversation. Houston's schedule is such that they can win some games coming up here in the following 4 weeks. So I would not be surprised to see them sitting at 7-5, 8-6, something like that. And if they are, they're going to be talking about C.J. Stroud.
You know what I liked about him? On Sunday, he thanked the Lord, and he never cursed. The Michigan assistant coach, after they won the game the other day on Saturday in the post-game interview, said shit and said fucking while being on live television. He knew it, and he's crying like a little baby. Get the hell off my freaking TV. Have some respect. Don't be a jackass. And you can see C.J. Stroud, he's a respectful gentleman, and the Michigan assistant coach was a jackass, and frankly, didn't get enough flack for it, in my opinion.
Cowboys, I don't think we learned a goddamn thing. The Giants
No.
are terrible. It's just another week. And by the way, we're not going to know much more about the Cowboys for several more weeks because their schedule is cream puff. I don't know how much they paid to get this schedule.
It's the playoffs for them. They got to make the playoffs. I think that's assumed that they will, at least to me. And it's about what they do there. I think the one thing we did find out on Sunday was we all hate the "here we go" from Dak. Don't we? We all hate that. Here we go. Oh my God! Enough already.
As much as I hated Broncos Nation, let's ride.
Here we go. I hate that. That drives me nuts.
It does.
It really does.
I had high hopes for Saturday for the Texas Longhorns. I wanted Texas to go out there and kick some ass, really show that they were, who we hope they are, which is a dominant football team. They did not. They almost blew that damn game, and they didn't get the help in any of the games that they possibly could have, and they were all one-score games for Oregon, for Washington, for Florida State. They were all one-score victories, but they didn't get any help from the teams they needed.
But I think, we talked about this last week. Do we think that Texas is going to run the table?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes, I do. But I don't think they're going to be very impressive in doing so. In other words, I think against Iowa State, where they're like a 7.5-point favorite, I think they're going to win that football game, but I bet it's close because that's what Texas does. They play these close games. Then you have Texas Tech. What are you oohing and eyeing about?
No, I'm just thinking about the possibility of a one-loss Alabama leapfrogging Texas.
I don't think that can happen.
Really?
I just don't think that
Really?
can happen. The head-to-head is too glaring.
And Alabama's going to lose again anyway.
One head-to-head. One
That's not
head-to-head.
true. I take that back.
If Alabama wins out and beats Georgia, do you put Alabama ahead of Texas? I do. I
Yeah,
do.
probably.
You think Alabama's going to beat Georgia?
I think Alabama has a chance against Georgia.
Well, I'll say this. I didn't like Milroe early on in the season, but I watched him on Saturday. He's a terrific player. He's gotten so much better. It's unbelievable.
And they're figuring out how to use him,
Oh,
finally.
man.
What do you got for me over there, Wally?
All right, I'll
Wally's
give you
tidbits.
I'll give you a couple of quick ones here. Did you see the Tom Rinaldi interview with Greg Popovich?
No, I did
about
not.
the Air Force Academy.
No, I did not.
Terrific. Go check that out. Either you'll probably find it on Tom Rinaldi's social media. I saw that and Pop talking about the Air Force and his decision
Was this
to go
a
there.
Veterans Day
Yes.
kind of special?
Yeah, it was broadcast on the I think Fox did their pregame show from the Air Force Academy
Yeah.
in Colorado. So
Oh, cool.
pretty cool stuff. Then on the other side of that, you had the QAnon shaman guy.
Oh, yeah.
That
That's
broke it.
squirrel.
Yeah, he's running for Congress in Arizona.
Oh, God.
Arizona is on the. They're on the outside looking in when it comes to the stupid states in this country, like this one that we live in, and Florida, and maybe even Ohio. They're right there on the outside, but they're pretty close.
They're pretty stupid.
Yeah, they're right there.
That's a much more clear-cut 14th Amendment ineligibility case.
Yeah, you would think.
He
right?
was part of the insurrection.
Yes.
No question about it. I saw this here in San Antonio. A smoke shop employee gets punched in the face trying to stop a shoplifter.
Oh.
Last week we had the security guard that was shot when he tried to stop a shoplifter. This is a big problem in this state. It's a big problem in the country because there are so many freaking guns in this country now. Everybody has one. Everyone carries one in their car. Everyone carries one with them. So you can't. Businesses now tell their employees, "You got a shoplifter, don't confront them."
They've always told that. They've always told their employees that. I mean, you have specialized teams, quote unquote, the loss prevention teams that are supposed to do that. But
Yeah, but you can't now. You can't confront those. And I have a sister-in-law that's in that business of loss prevention for these big corporations, and that's the policy. Don't confront them. Let it go.
well, I mean,
Well, there's a secondary problem, which is that now we don't prosecute for these petty crimes, right? So there's really no ramification one way
I
or
get
the
that,
next.
but if you're, when I was a teenager and wanted to go, if I stole something and maybe I took a piece of bubble gum at a store one time, I never worried about it. It was still pretty sneaky and challenging to steal a piece of gum, but I didn't have a gun in my pocket. So, when you have a gun with you, you are, you're as courageous as anybody could possibly be because, hey, if that guy tries to stop me, I'll just shoot that bitch.
And there's a difference for me for the single individual doing the shoplifting, more of a, I kind of look at it as a Jean Valjean type of situation.
Sure.
Than a organized ring of people taking advantage of the laws where we don't prosecute and using that as an organized crime type of thing.
You've read about that organized crime,
Yeah.
shoplifting stuff in New York City?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Don't mess around with the organized crime, folks. Just telling you.
Yeah, the people with the vowels at the end of their last name. What's
That-
your last name?
That brings me to a good story.
Let me
I'll
tell
give
you one quick thing.
All right.
There is a
Is it
wonderful
organized crime?
wonderful 6-part series on American gun violence by Malcolm Gladwell on his Revisionist History podcast that I just finished listening to on my long drive. That's excellent. Excellent. And it's not slanted. There's a lot of criticism for both sides. It's an excellent listen.
Back to organized crime.
Oh, boy.
I'll give you an organized crime situation. All right, so back in the day at Wally's Deli in Valhalla, New York, we would have one of those big garbage dumpsters. So a carting company, which is the company that comes and picks up your container, dumps it in their container, and drives away, that's what they call it. They call it a carting company, in case you didn't know. So they would come to my store twice a week and pick up my garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I paid over $300 a month for that service. Okay. Now that company would come in, not only take my garbage can, but they would take another business's garbage can and an apartment building's garbage can, all in the same parking lot. So it was the three of us, right?
Okay.
So they raised their rates. They went from for argument's sake, $300 to $400. And I go, this is ridiculous. I can't pay this amount of money. I go searching for another carting company.
Don't you know that Waste Management up there is all gangster controlled?
Well, I didn't know who was in control of whatever.
When the driver's name is Tiny or the Snake or the Anvil.
No, they're far removed from being the driver of the truck.
True fact.
Some lowlife is that's not true. Anyway, somebody with a record is driving this truck. Anyway, so I go searching for a carting company, and the guy comes into the store, and we talk about it. And I go to my contact at the existing carting company and said, listen, Joe's carting company. Actually, you know what? I have that wrong. So I talked to the competing carting company. All of a sudden, I get a visit from the existing carting company guy. Walks into my store.
Now that sounds more like it.
I said, Mr. Pasacreta, we understand that you have been entertaining thoughts of changing carting companies. We would recommend highly that you don't do that. And I go, okay. Yeah, you can't do that. All righty. I said, I can't pay the bill. What do we need to do? So they sit me down. What price is going to make it good for you? What can you do? And so I was in my business for 7 years or 8 years. I went all the way back to year 1 in my contract with the carting company. That's what I was able to do. So it might have been $400. I got it all the way back to $250.
Wow, and they accepted.
They had no choice.
Listen to you. Wow.
They had no choice because I wasn't gonna allow them to bend me over the table.
I give you props for arguing and making a deal with the mob.
And the mob made it up with the other two companies. Or the other two ones.
And listen, and so he just told me, he said, well, what are you going to be able to pay us? I go, I can pay you this. And it wasn't unreasonable. We just went back to year 1, which is what we paid in the beginning. I can pay you that, but I can't pay you this.
Sure.
And I did that
Way
with
to negotiate.
I did that with my landlord that owned the building that the business was in. And my mother at that, my mother was my partner in the business. I said, Ma, this is what we're going to do. We were in like year 7. I told her, I said, listen, we're going to threaten to leave because it was our option. And they said, well, we're not negotiating, and we're going to put for rent signs in your store. I said, you could do whatever you want. We already have a place in mind. If you want to do that, then we're going to start the process and move our stuff out of there. They not only came to the bargaining table, they negotiated with us, and I got back to the rent price that I started with in year 1.
Quite a negotiator.
And that allowed me to sell my business.
Wow.
And that was the idea in the first place. My mother goes, are you sure we're doing the right thing? I said, Ma, trust me. They will come back to us. And they sure did. And we were able to get rid of the store.
Very impressive.
We sold it to somebody who was dumber than I was and walked out of there.
You got anything else before we get out of here?
Yes, but let me tell you about River City Refuels before we go, Bob. Thank you very much. River City Refuels, you wonder, what is that? Well, this is what they do is they bring a vending machine or vending machines to your business that's tailored to you and your employees' tastes and likes. Stuff you want. The vending machines don't have Marlboro lights and Parliament lights in them, at the adult men's club anymore. They have stuff in there that you want to have, that you like to drink, that you like to eat, whether it's ramen noodles, oat and honey nut bars, any of that kind of stuff, ramen noodles, whatever it is, they have it for you. They stock the vending machine. You don't have to do anything. It's completely a cashless system. You'll love it. Your employees are going to love it. It boosts morale in your business, believe it or not. It's terrific. An office building, an apartment complex, any kind of business, they should have one here in this building that we're doing the show in. If you'd like to do that, 210-630-5973. Call my boy. 210-630-5973. It'll come right to your business. You'll love it. It's a vending machine for your business. It's River City Refuels. Peace out.
Thanks, Wally.
How y'all feel out there? Do you feel good? I said, do you feel good? Come on. The groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move. I said the groove feel good when it make you move. Make your next move your best move. It feel good, don't it? It feel good. It feel good cause you know it's good. Hey, it feel good, don't it? It feel good. It feel good cause you know it's good.
We got a good game tonight. We got Wembanyama against Chet Holmgren tonight. It's pretty awesome. I didn't know you could have. I didn't know you could have two generational players, but apparently that's what we have. Are you doing the topic starter again today?
I will be doing such. Yes.
All right. No donuts today, Bob? I don't want donuts. I'm just asking. It's almost like he got insulted. Of course he has donuts. But my wife used to buy that crap. And you know what? When I had my heart attack back on March the 1st this year, I actually consciously said to my wife, listen, this is not your fault. I said that to her. It was nice of me because.
It was her fault?
What's that?
Did she think it was her fault?
I would think in the back of her mind she might have thought that because I harped on her constantly in my house. Stop buying all this crap. And she goes, well, don't eat it. I go, you know what? That's not how life works. My wife thinks that
Have you met Wally?
my wife thinks
Self-control?
that everybody is made up the same way she is. We all have tremendous willpower, all this kind of stuff. Well, not all of us have tremendous willpower. Some of us have a addictive gene.
Yes, yes.
So, for those who call, drug addicts and all that kind of stuff, it is a disease because I think we have an addictive gene. That's my personal opinion. I think not all of us do, but I certainly do. If it wasn't cigarettes, if it wasn't alcohol, if it wasn't sweets and stuff like
You
that.
realize you're preaching to the choir here, right?
I don't know.
Oh.
Okay.
If I like something, I have dozens of them. Not just one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not a stopper. My wife always says I have no off button. Right? Like
Okay.
when I drink, I drink.
Yeah, but the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that anymore.
You've been around me. You know.
I've never been around you in a alcohol setting ever.
That's not true.
Really?
Ever.
What are you talking about? When we got in a fucking fight, we were both wasted.
I was not wasted.
Yes, we were, Walter.
No way. What,
Yes.
in Detroit?
Yes.
No.
Do you really think we got in a sober fight?
Well, all I remember is him throwing the keys at me in a like we were in
We
like
were
a
at
diner.
a diner at
in
like
Denver.
3:00 in the morning. You think there was no alcohol involved?
Yeah, I forgot about that one
Okay.
episode.
I haven't known him that long. I've seen him puke on the ground
Yeah.
at a bar.
And keep drinking. And keep drinking.
Really?
Yeah, true fact. That happened.
I can't drink anymore. I'm not. Two. If I have 2 drinks, 2 beers, 2 whatever, that's pretty much it.
Really? Is that
That's a
self-imposed policy,
Yes,
or is that just
yes.
something that you're feeling?
self-imposed.
Okay.
Good for you.
That's what happens when you have heart disease.
Yeah.
That's a big
I
problem.
see what you're thinking over there. All right. Y'all ready?
Sure.
Oh,
Why
so
not?
let me. I'll finish the story. So that's what I told my wife. I said,
Oh,
my
yeah.
wife buys all this crap, donut holes, all these cookies, these cakes, and all that shit. So don't eat it. I didn't tell you to eat it. I said, yeah, you don't understand something. We're not made like you. I don't have that willpower. So if it's there, I'm gonna eat it. I could go through.
So should I take the donut holes away?
No, I'm not going to eat that. I can't have. I've completely cut sugar out of my. I went to my cardiologist yesterday. I saw Dr. Sal. He said hello.
Yeah.
Dr. Sal cut my medication yesterday. So
Hey, that's
Good for you.